Welcome to Still Not Worried Studios presents The Review.
We back, Team Anik. We were going to do this on probably like have it under Bench Mob ENT, but my partner, the genius, was like, nah, we could do it on Still Not Worried Studios.
I mean, why not? I think this is a completely different thing that Still Not Worried Studios can bring to the forefront. My wonderful husband here has so many different ideas, and I feel like everything doesn't need to fall underneath Bench Mob Entertainment. So we're going to start with our first movie review, hence the name, The Review. We will be reviewing the movie King Richard. We recently watched it this past week, and it was absolutely amazing.
Definitely, hands down, so far, definitely in my top 5 of movies that we've seen so far this year. Um, it was just an idea that we thought to do because we watch a whole bunch of movies, TV. Especially she knows she'll catch me watching documentaries, everything
All
like
the
that.
time. All the
So
time.
why not do a review? I think we got pretty good taste. People always end up, whatever suggestions we give. Oh, that was good. That was good.
Right. Yeah, we
So, what was
appreciate
your,
it.
takeaways from King Richard?
So many takeaways. My number one thing that I absolutely loved, hands down, was oh, and by the way, please don't watch this before you watch the movie. You should watch it after because this is definitely going to be a spoiler alert, just so you guys know.
Definitely.
Because yeah. So back to what I was just saying. My main thing was the role that the wife played in this whole thing and her position um with her kids and also her husband, the support that she gave him during his difficult times. He would get beat and she would just be there for him and take care of him. But then also when there's times when she had to basically tell him, like, you are afraid, you want to run away, you need to face this, your daughter needs you need to get it together, you need to step out of your pride and go talk to your daughter, because yes, we've instilled we instilled things into her. She knows what she needs to do. It's now our turn to sit back and watch. And it's not like we're not going to be there. But I thought that was just very, like, very, very, very important. The role of the mother. Also, too, like, Serena, Venus went first and then it was Serena. And the mother was such a crucial aspect because she also trained with
Facts.
Serena while Venus was going and getting the professional training. And I just think about, like, if her mother wasn't involved in the process, Serena could have easily went to the wayside, because yes, her father did also care about her success and what she wanted to do in tennis. But based off the storyline, it was only one child that could get the training, and then they would use what the one child learned and bring it over to the other child. So that was my biggest takeaway from the movie. What about you, babe?
Yeah, I think that was key. Like when we were watching it, as soon as she did that, I pointed out to it like that was crucial because, like you said, maybe not to the wayside, but that could have put Serena in a mindset of being jealous. It could have been in a mindset of
It's
I was
very
left
true.
behind, or I'm not as important, or
Not as
I'm not
good.
I'm not as good, I'm not as
Yep.
valued.
Yep.
But the mom stepping up right then and there, like the day after Serena goes,
Venus
Venus
goes.
goes, right? The mother that same day is like, all right, come on, we about to go train. I thought that was so key, especially in the, partnership of being the parents, to make sure that the balance was there, that, you felt that she was able to still feel that love regardless, no matter what. Um,
Also, to add to that, in the movie, she was like, I fixed their stance. I fixed, like, she was saying what she did to help them get better because the father was the one that was really like taking them out, training them, or whatever. But then the mother, she also played a role in training them also because she was like, I fixed their stance. I fixed how they hit the ball. Like, I fixed all these things that you didn't even realize was that needs to be fixed. I did that. So,
yeah, I think they both played a major role, and it was that point in the movie, which you already alluded to, where she got to be like, all right, look, I've dealt with your pride a little bit too long now. I've dealt with she put out there. She's like, you've had other kids. I ain't say nothing about that. I let it slide. I let it rock. I'm still here. We not about to do this though. All right, let's get it together. We not about to do this now. Like
right, right.
this is the
You got to
time.
draw a line in the sand. So,
Exactly. And it's like, a scripture where it talks about raising a child in the way that it should go. And when they get old, they won't depart from it. Obviously, that's talking about, raising them in the admiration and fear of God. But I think the same can be said in this instance, in this regard of, hey, she basically was saying, we've done our part. We've done a good job raising these girls. And now it's time to basically let they wings spread, let them fly. They've been in caterpillar mode too long. It's time to be butterflies and just let them be butterflies. You feel me? So that was good. That was definitely something that stuck out to me. One of the big things that stuck out to me, for me, it was so many things, so layered within this. You know how it says in Habakkuk 2, verse 2, about writing down the vision, making it plain, so that whoever reads it can run with it. Uh he kept saying throughout the whole movie, that is Richard Williams kept saying, I have a plan. I have a plan. I wrote it down. I wrote it down. I have a plan. This is exactly how it's supposed to happen. Hey, I mean, if he's doing it and he's basically taking the godly principle,
yeah,
shoot, why aren't we as believers and people in general? I mean, you need to write it down.
it's
You
very
gotta
true.
you gotta write the vision down, write the dream down. It's just something about when you write it down than just keeping it in your head. I don't know what it is about writing it down. Is it like an accountability thing? Is it
I definitely think it is an accountability. It's making your dreams a reality, not a reality in the fact of you're living it, but a reality in the fact that you have to come to a realization that yes, this is what I want to pursue and I need to make the first step is writing it down. And if you don't do that, then it's just a thought that could just come and go.
Mhm. That is true. And it was just different things throughout the movie. That was so I was taking notes during it. I got chills throughout the whole
Mm-hmm,
movie here and
mm-hmm.
there. Felt like having tears, like even that point where my man said, the world has never shown any respect or love to Richard Williams, but they for sure are going to respect my girls. That
Yes.
that sent chills down my
Mm-hmm,
spine
for sure.
because that is definitely the plight of a lot of black males and a lot of black people in general, especially our parents, our grandparents, the stuff that they went through. Like they didn't often, and still some of them to this day didn't get the respect, didn't get the honor, was treated very badly, went through. We see he's in his 60s, 70s in the movie where he's at in these scenes. In that time period, he would have been in his 60s or 70s, and he's getting beat up
So sad.
by gang members and going through that type of stuff with the disrespect and having to get beat up. And he said this wasn't the first time this has happened to him his whole life.
Right.
Going back to his father, seeing him getting beaten up, and he could see his father running away.
Mm.
Now, when you look at the movie and how he raised them and how he was so reluctant to try to let his girls go be the great stars that they became to be, it makes a little bit of sense. This is past issues, past hurt that never got talked about, that never got fixed, obviously, that never received healing from it.
Yeah, that trauma. Don't do it to you.
So it spilled over in how he raised them
Mm-hmm.
and his fear of how he was raising them and when to let Venus go pro, when to let Serena actually start playing matches like her sister.
Right.
It was just that stuck out. The perseverance to stick to the plan. There's too many times where you have a plan and you might have wrote it down already, and then things don't pan out, it doesn't see like what you wrote down. This man was getting no after no after no after no after no,
Mm-hmm.
and kept pushing. And the difference, I think, between a lot of people is he actually, and that, probably is a part of writing it down. He actually believed it.
Yes.
He's telling people, hey, you he's with, who was it? Two of the prominent male tennis players back then. And he's telling them, like, you want my daughters to sign it?
Right. Do you want their signature?
Because these girls, you're going to want to know them in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Say what you want. He had his flaws just like anybody else. But if I had a parent backing me up like that
unstoppable.
You feel me? Like, no matter what,
Belief system.
Yeah, that belief system behind them and that type of support. If I had, somebody like that growing up, no disrespect to my parents, and who knows what was said behind closed doors if they talked that way about me or not. In general, though, I'm saying a child having that and be able to hear that and see that your parents have the supreme confidence in you.
Mm-hmm.
And such that tender age too of you got a lot of stuff that could come and deter them and could, have them not secure within themselves. That type of leadership and supreme confidence in your children, I think, is a major key and a major factor in their success.
It is. It is. And I think also too, like with so much of their, them winning and stuff, like he made sure to instill that the key that you need to be humble. And even with that, like when he made them watch Cinderella, I was like, where's this man going with this? Like, why is he making them watch Cinderella? Like, I knew he wasn't off it when he like left him, but I didn't know how he would have went about teaching them that. And I thought it was very like interesting and key how he went about, because we got a family meeting, they all serious, and then it was like, oh, we turn on Cinderella.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, well, this is a movie time. But little do you know, it's a lesson to be learned, and everything. And I think that was very key for him to put that on, because girls, we like watching Cinderella movies. We like watching movies like that. So that was a perfect way a gateway for him to truly get the message across. Like, you need to be humble no matter what.
Would you say humility is the opposite of pride?
Yeah, of course.
I just find that interesting, him stressing the humility to his children when he dealt with pride so much.
Mm-hmm.
And if it could have been something consciously or subconsciously, like he knew he dealt with pride and he dealt with that issue, I don't want my kids to deal with that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
to deal with what I do, because we don't really hear completely his story and why things may have not panned out. Maybe pride played a factor in why certain things panned out. And when you get to a certain age, they say you can't teach old dog, new tricks. Maybe he was aware, maybe he was conscious and self-aware of, hey, sometimes I'm prideful. Hey, sometimes I get in my own way.
Right.
But I'll make sure that won't happen to my daughters. They
Right.
won't go down that path. He mentioned him and his wife were both athletes, so
Right.
maybe it was pride at some point in his life too. You feel me?
Mhm.
I just thought about that, and maybe that's how that went about, of just stressing, humility, humility,
Yeah.
humility. And I think that was a key thing, because she's beating everybody, and some would say, hey, rightfully so, she should have some pride.
Right. Right. She should have a sense of pride.
It's one thing, I think it's a balance though. It was like, I don't even know if sense of pride is the right word. Maybe it's just like a confidence.
Mhm.
It's okay to have a confidence and a belief in yourself, but it's about how you go about expressing it, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was so good by him at the beginning. He kind of dragged it on too long, but he wanted them to be kids though.
Yeah.
Now, before we see, it ends up, the pride comes in and he's like holding them back. I think it still worked out in the right timing, because if it was originally straight off, they get to, where was that at? That was that Texas, Florida?
Yeah. I think it was Texas.
They get there with the training with Rick Macy was his name, right?
I think so. But they were, I think, originally in Texas, and they went, no, they were in California, and they
They were in
went all the
California.
way to Florida.
California to Florida, right? And we're gonna get on that, because how they got to Florida, we talked about how great that was.
That was amazing. Yeah.
But he could have, if it was straight when they got to Florida, hey, go pro, go do your thing.
Right.
It might not have worked out. So I think, obviously we don't have kids yet, but I think that is such a fine line of when your children are great in said field, that they can become professional and make money and whatnot, when to actually let that happen.
Yeah.
Because you have to protect their innocence, and you still want them to be able to be kids. We've seen too many celebrities, too many stars that didn't get to be kids, and then they become adults. It doesn't really go well for them.
Right. Right.
It doesn't turn out too well. So I think that was really good by him, really good parenting and wisdom in that.
Yeah. And also, to add to that, like, their financial situation wasn't the best. So the fact that he used wisdom to, make that decision about not using your child as your financial ticket out of where you're currently at financially.
And she mentioned that too, because she says you had all these side businesses, you quit them, you didn't go through them. So he was still trying to hustle. He's still trying to do his own thing. And I'm sure a Serena, a Venus going pro could have been some nice little seed money to start off some of these businesses that maybe he was trying, that made of, hey, if I got some backing financially, maybe some of these side businesses would have worked out.
Right.
And he chose not to. We like, all right, yeah, go pro. Just cut me off, good. 2-3 mil and I'm straight. Nah, he didn't do that. And even in that whole process, he stayed involved. He stayed trying to coach. He stayed giving his opinion to help her grow.
Right.
Both his daughters.
Right.
But I want to go back to them coming from California. Okay. Compton, California. Now he fires the coach. Coach is like, you're crazy. You're going about it the wrong way. They get the guy, Rick Macy, to come all the way from Florida to Compton, takes him out to the Compton Country Club. I thought they was going to
I thought they was going to that country club they was at before.
I thought so too.
But I guess not.
They work out, and hey, of course he wants to sign them to come down to Florida and train with him. What was your takes when, he gave them, hey, so this is our standard contract. This is how we do. We take care of them. We give them housing, yada, 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 yada. And then Richard Williams has Tundi, his other daughter, give Rick Macy their standard agreements.
I thought that was so G. I was like, I know that's right because I feel like when I saw that, I immediately thought about like the interview process. And when you go for an interview and you're looking for they're looking for someone to fill a position, and they always say you should go having questions also because you're also interviewing this place. Is this the right place for me? Is this the right person for me? And in that moment when we were watching the movie, I was like, that's right. That's absolutely right. Because what if in this agreement that you're writing, well, in this agreement that's being given to you, maybe you don't, not to say you don't agree with everything, but who's to say that it's in line with everything that you want? So the fact that he gave a contract, a standard contract to him in response to him giving him a contract, I was like, that's beautiful. That's
That
absolutely beautiful. And and also too, like he knew his orders were that good that he couldn't say no to whatever his contract outlined. Basically, saying that he needed a job on the wherever they're gonna be at.
he
They need
needed he needed a job on his team,
right.
needed housing, and
Mm-hmm.
you're not just taking one or two of my girls, you're taking the whole family.
The whole family.
We need schooling, we
Mm-hmm.
need housing, we need all that. And they were so good. He said yes.
Right. And he was like, and I need a mobile home.
That's the other thing too. I love that about him, that even within it, this is the contract, this is what we want, this is what we need. I'm still willing to do my part. I'll take the mobile home and drive from California to Florida. I didn't ask for you to fly us out. I didn't ask for any, I'll do the driving to
Mm-hmm.
get my family out there. I'm still willing to put in the work to do what I need to do to get there. Like the dream is right there within arm's reach. I could try to get a handout, or I could keep working. You feel
Right,
me? So he
right,
kept working,
exactly, exactly.
and that was instilled in his daughters. And when you see that, when now we have Venus about to go pro. She's pro now. She gets her first offer. First offer is $3 million. And King Richard and his wife, they let Venus make the decision. She turns it down. Only thing I got from that is just betting on yourself. And you mentioned a good point on it too, about her turning down the 3 million.
Hmm. So my initial thought was they're offering this girl so much money and they haven't even seen what she can do. And this is the first time she's been offered this amount of money. She knows she's good, but what if she accepted that offer? She wouldn't have known. She couldn't have even been signed or given that $12 million contract with Nike with
Reebok.
no Reebok with Reebok. If she would have taken that, she would have been locked in. And if anyone else wanted to offer her anything, she couldn't take it because she was already locked in with Nike.
Goes pro at 14. That's supreme confidence. 14 amongst grown women. She's pro. That's how great she was. And with that, within literally 9 months after turning that down, she got the $12 million offer from Reebok. She goes toe to toe with the number one female in the world, and she really should have beat her, really could have beat her if the girl didn't get nervous and try to ice her by going to the bathroom.
Right, right.
She was really busting her up, was doing her job, made her nervous to the point that she had to, I got to figure something out.
Right.
I'm going to go to the bathroom, ice her, and that's what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, in its entirety, like the thing I got from it really is like, write it down and make it plain. Write it down and make it plain. They end off the movie saying, essentially dag near everything that Richard Williams wrote down came into fruition.
Mm-hmm.
While Venus is going pro, he tells Serena, "You're gonna be the best ever, ever in the world. Your sister's gonna be number one. She's gonna do her thing. She's gonna be the best in the world ever."
Mm-hmm. Best
What
to ever do it.
happens? Venus, number one, titles after titles after titles. Serena, best to ever do it.
Yes.
Speaking
Yep.
it into existence, writing it down, making it plain. It's a must-watch movie.
Yes. And also to add to that, another thing was that the things that you have on the inside of you is not just for you, it's for somebody else. And it was something, I don't remember if it was a mom that said it or if it was King Richard that said it, but he was like, "You will be representing all the Black girls.
That's King Richard.
When you go out there, you will be representing all the Black girls, the Black and brown girls." So, and then them also just becoming the first Black females to do it in tennis. He was like, "This is why I chose tennis." He was very strategic about them doing tennis. And when I was watching, I was like, I wonder if it wasn't him. I mean, yes, they said that they were athletes, but it wasn't him that was actually, doing this. It was his kids. Like he had the plan, but his kids were the ones that ran with it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Sidebar before we close out. I love that one of my favorite lines in the movie is when he's having a meeting with some of the agents, and the agent brings out the big boss, and they're at the country club, and the guy, is basically, we're just so surprised, like, congratulations on what you've been able to do, alluding to they didn't think a Black father and two Black females was going to be able to do this and to excel and to be in this sport. Before that conversation starts, one of my favorite lines in the movie, he said, "Hey, I'm glad everybody, y'all took y'all hoods off." That the fact to be able to have the boldness to say that,
right.
and to understand and know, like, all right, I'm here meeting with these people, but we know what I still know. I still know the vibes, and I still am very aware of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we buddy because you see dollar signs,
Right.
but I still know what I have to go through every single day. And if you didn't see these dollar signs and saw me outside of here, how would I be treated?
Mm-hmm.
So I found that funny, but such a true statement.
Yeah.
Of even today. But that's episode 1 of the review.
Episode 1.
Still Not Worried Studios, Team Anik, the review. Peace.
Peace.